Hi everyone, my name is Tony Adegbenro. Welcome to my video message today. I really appreciate you taking time to come and listen to this. I'm going to show you in this video how to print your own money. That's right, how to print your own money so that you can eliminate stress from your life, create your own world, and you can live your life the way you really wanted it. Now, there's a few things I'm going to say. You need to please watch this message to the very end to get a full understanding of how to print your own money. And of course, at the end, click the subscribe button, click the like button, and put your comments there. Now, let me encourage you by saying that you need to and you can create your own economy. That's right. The question for you, my friend, is this: when will you free yourself from this economy and create your own? When will you create your own business, your own time, your own joy and pleasure? When will you create your own stressless life? Now, this message is for you if you find yourself unable to focus and you are lacking the joy and the energy of life because you don't know your life's purpose, if asked to name it in one go. This message is for you if you've had a tough time and a tough life to date. Things have not always gone your way, but despite that, you are a fighter and you've got the guts and determination, and now you want to channel all that energy into something positive that will make your past a distant memory. This message is for you. If you feel like a square peg in a round hole and you don't have a clear direction in life or don't know what's the next step to take. Maybe you feel like you have a lot to offer the world, but just don't know what to do or where to start. You've got bundles of enthusiasm and you're willing to learn and to implement them. Maybe you've seen and you've heard other people who frankly they are not anywhere as intelligent as you are, yet they're making good money. They're enjoying a better life. And you wonder what the secret that they have that you don't know. Maybe you want to make a fresh start and you love some inspiration in making the right choices for this next adventure. Now, like it or not, okay, you are in an economy that's not set to favor you completely. Let me give an example. Do you know that if you are employed and your employer pays you handsomely, you are still being underpaid? If your employer pays you, say, I don't know, $1,000, for example, so say $100 per hour, you are definitely worth 5 times more. It's from the work you do that the employer have to pay their own salaries. They have to pay the rent for the organization, all the company expenditures. They have to invest in marketing. They cover all seen and unseen budget. The question is, why will they comfortably pay you even $10, $25, or $100 an hour, or whatever you are paid, if they cannot afford it, and if you are not worth more to them? That's what you need to think about. So, that being said, why should you slave your time to build somebody else's dream, somebody else's business, somebody else's future, and you abandon yours? Why shouldn't you print your own money by starting your own economy? You are under control. You are not as free as you are made to think you are. Did you know also that even if they pay you well, if that's the case at all, because it's not the case with many people, yet you are totally restricted in many ways. Your employer determines your salary, they determine your holiday, the number of days you can take, they determine when you sign in and when you close, they determine your income, your pension, your time off. Even if you have a young family or a spouse, somebody to look after, but when you are your own boss, you determine all that. Seriously, you determine all of that. So it's time to begin to look at this. Let me share this story with you and the reality about me. Are you ready? I hope you are. This is how I printed my own money. By that, I mean not placing your destiny and your future in the hands of others, but taking a hold of it yourself. There was a time when I was unemployed. I was registered in a government scheme and I was sent on a training to do basic Word, Excel, Microsoft stuff, and I hated every minute of it on the inside. But I kept saying to myself, one day and not too long, I will not be doing this nonsense. I remember that day too well. I was asked to go on an employment center to search for jobs. And the way I was treated by the person there was so wrong, but I didn't bother argue with him. I didn't report him either. I just said to myself, one day I will be an employer of others and not just an employee. And within a year, that happened. That's right. My friend, you can turn this fight around. It's not a fight on the outside, it's a fight you need to have on the inside, and you turn it around. I didn't waste my energy fighting the system. No, don't waste your and I know people who are trying to who are fighting the system, and that's too a fight too big to fight. All you have to do, make up your mind that you are going to create your own economy, you are going to live in your own world. You've got to begin to think about printing your own money. Are you employed and you believe you'll be employed forever? What if your employer has to close down suddenly? How will you survive? What if an adverse change in the line of their trading, for example, maybe a big competitor just comes into the market? Maybe there's a severe stock market crash or an unseen disaster that falls on your employer and the business has to shut down. What if ill health of any sort affected you and you could not do your manual job? Think about the pandemic that just happened suddenly and many lost their job. Some companies folded. Some have to cut down and let some staff go. Why not begin to talk of how you will print your own money? And I don't mean stealing or doing drugs or doing fake business. No, because that's totally wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. Let me share this with you. In 2004, after working in the National Health Service in UK for 15 years, I sacked myself to embark on a journey to free myself that will eventually lead to me printing my own money to do what I wanted to do. That's right. I wanted to make a difference in children's life, in young people's life. I see the state there living, their stresses, their issues, and I'm thinking, no, there has to be something to do about this. I've always said this. When people talk about, oh, those young people, they're hanging on the street corners, they're not doing anything, they're wasting their lives. I've always said, young people are only looking for two things: somewhere to go and something to do. You create a place for them and give them something to do. They will not be on the streets. And many parents are perplexed, are worn out, just don't know what to do. And I feared for these children and this youth and these families. And I thought, no, I want to make a difference in the community. I want to be a people's person. So sitting down in an office, no, no, no. And I remember that day clearly. It was February 2004. Driving to work, I had a full-time job, fully paid, I had a nice house and a family of five, everything. And I said, no, no, no. I have to stop this. I have to get on, create my own economy, live in my own world, do what I want to do to make a difference. And my friend, I'm saying this to you. You will have to make some serious or drastic decisions as well, calculated if you're going to make any change at all. So I sacked myself in 2004, and in 2006, 2 years after, started a charity organization. What is called in UK a charity organization, known around the world as an NGO. We had a building that was given to us by the council. So we started from an unused building that laid waste while we were begging for others to come and rent it. We started something from there. A lady was working with me, had an idea for a charity shop. And I thought, okay, I'll think about it. You see, I love people who take action. So she told me on the Thursday, and by the time it was a Monday, when I went to the building, I saw a rack of clothes and some toys. And I said, "Where's this from?" She said, "From my house." I said, "What happened?" She said, "Well, I told you about it on Thursday. I we should look at starting a charity shop, and I thought to be a good idea. You said you'd be thinking about it, and I thought I'll just start anyway. I'll take action." Wow. That inspired me. I hope you hearing that inspires you. Just take action. From nothing, start something. It's always the case. So we had the building and we're begging people to rent it. We couldn't get it to rent it out. So she had an idea. We put the idea together, started from there. And today, 7 years on, from 2013, we have a charity shop. The question is, my friend, what's laying waste now that you have that you can tap into? That if you see it differently, can turn things around and make a difference in your life and in your present situation. Now, right now, speaking to you, that building that we started from in the main building, there's no room to rent to anyone now. A part of the building, the kitchen inside, was rented out to a lady who wanted to run a cafe, a small cafe. But eventually, after about a year or so, the cafe side ceased trading for certain reasons. So we immediately expanded into that area to increase our operation for the charity shop. We also had a big room in the building that was used by an organization who are looking at helping people with unemployment, doing their CV, helping them to get a job. But eventually, they left. Even before they left, we wanted to move into that room because the charity shop was expanding in the in the big room we were using, and we needed every space. Now, even though the rent they were paying for that room brought a dip in our income, okay, but suddenly, after they left, we moved our operation into that room because we had more stuff, more business to do. And now we don't have any space in that building to rent out or hire to anybody. Okay. Now, year after year, things have happened that way. And again, things have just happened. So that about 2 years ago, 2019, well, January or so, we had to go and get a bigger building, an industrial unit, 3 times bigger to where we started from because of taking action. This, my friend, is the reality I'm living in. Right now, in December 2020, as I'm speaking to you, that industrial unit we occupied less than 2 years ago is now full to maximum. And we need to expand even further. There you go. It has not always been that way, but I can show you a time where we were begging for government funding, government grants and support. Because I was running a children's organization with kids in the kids club in the community. And so they would say, oh, there's this grant for £200 or £500. But the time it takes writing an application, writing the form, even searching for the funding, matching everything, finding the right one, and then write application, and then the lengthy process of waiting for them to make a decision. And when you get the grant, you have to spend it exactly on what you. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, no. Eventually, when we get the money was like peanuts because the money the grants given doesn't even cover the normal monthly utilities for the insurance, the rates, the lights, the heating of the building. It's not even paying any salary. Well, in fact, it's not even paying volunteers' expenses at all. So I made up my mind that I am going to print my own money. I just suddenly changed my thinking. That's right. I changed my thinking. My friend, you have to change your thinking to start printing the money you need from your mind. That's where you have to start from. And I remember saying this to myself. That was the reason I was saying, one day I'm going to have money in my pocket every day in increasing amount. That's right. I was going to have money in my pocket every day and in increasing amount. When I was saying this, I didn't have any money in my pocket, but I was saying it. And suddenly, about 2 years after, the charity shop concept started. The money's not in my pocket, obviously, but it's not my money, but it's the money we have to go and bank every single day. So this started to happen as the business began to grow. Obviously, the money is not my personal money, but it's the daily sales taken to the bank for the organization. Our economy shifted and it's now in our control, not having to wait for any government funding. So the government grants, when we get them, they're called restricted funding, which is fine. So you get funding to take the kids out, get funding to buy some equipment. And I'm thinking, taking them out, we're going to take them out. Where's the expensive salary for those doing that? It wasn't even covering any of that. And it's all restricted funding. and then the evaluation you have to take, and the monitoring and the reporting back for next to nothing. I said, no, no, no. We're going to have our own money that we're going to generate, and we're going to spend it on what we want to spend it on. And that is it. So the whole economy shifted. My friend, now we're printing our own money. You can print the money you need in your mind. That's the first place. You print the money in your mind with a vision. Because my vision was to come to a time and a place where I will be totally free of any employment. And today that's a reality, where we have my own time to do whatever I needed to do rather than slave away my time for pay per hour. And that today is a reality. A time when I will be free and will have an organization that is self-sustainable. And today that is a reality. A time when I will not need to fill an application form and be restricted to how much I spend on any grant, on anything, and today that is a reality. I wanted a time when we can spend the money we will acquire on projects that fits into the aims and objectives of our own organization. That's exactly what we're doing right now because we've printed our own money. This principle, my friend, is step by step and layers upon layer. This is not a get rich quick scheme where you take, where you just have money and when you take your money and there's nothing to show for it. If you follow my principle, you will be doing the same thing as I'm doing, having a self-sustainable business, a self-sustainable organization. Because we're able to do that and print our own money, now we're supporting several children organizations around the world, in United Kingdom, in Africa, in America, in many places. We're supporting organizations dealing with children with cancer, those who are abandoned, many organizations. And we have about 3 orphanages that we are working with right now as well. But two orphanages. There are many more asking for help. Really. I'll give you a story. There's one of the orphanages we're working with. This one is a great example. The guy was leading the orphanage, has 35 kids in it. And we met, we had a conversation, and I felt that's something we can support them. So they asked for maybe £100 or whatever we can give, and we send money like every month. And one day, it just hit me. And I said to the guy, I said, think about this. What will happen if somebody teaches you to fish? I said, well, choose. Will you want somebody to teach you to fish or give you fish? And he said, wow. He said, he's never thought about it in that way. I said, well, think about it. He said, well, if you can teach me to fish, that'd be better. I said, there you go. I said, what happens if, for example, you can raise $2,000 and you can have that? What will you do with $2,000? And he said, he's never thought about that. I said, go and think about it. And he went on to think about it, and he said he would get back to me within a week. I said no. I said I don't want. I said I want a report back within 48 hours, 2 days. He said okay, I'll go and think about it. So he went, got his group together, and they decided they're going to have like a poultry. This was in Africa. That's where they are. They said they're going to have a poultry business. I said, cost everything. It costed it, how they will get it in, how they are going to do the production, how they're going to be selling it. They did all the business, marketing, research, everything you can think about. I was really impressed. And guess what? Because there was a clear vision of what they wanted to do and how that's going to change them. Today, they got the money they needed. They needed. That's right. They got the money. I only had to speak to a few people, and suddenly people came helping. People came, and I'm thinking, wow. Suddenly, right now, as I'm speaking to you, they have a poultry business. This guy has not been begging any longer on Facebook, asking anybody to fund them. I mean, people can still support, fine, but they have something that has started now. And from one business, they've gone into producing milk as well from the cows they have. They had cows, they had acres of land. So from nothing, now they're more or less printing their own money to run the orphanage. Now they're looking at a place where they're going to be helping other organizations. My friend, I'm serious about this. You can print your own money. Of course, that's a positive one. There's another one that I was trying to help and trying to talk to, and everything I said to them was just, they were not just listening. I said, look, let me give you an example. There's a story of a girl who was about 11, 12. The family was starving. They were hungry. They were in a place where there was famine or so. They didn't have anything. They were starving for food. Somebody gave this 11-year-old, listen to this carefully, somebody gave this 11-year-old 3 tomatoes. If I ask you, what will you do? You are personally starving. Your family is hungry. You are given 3 tomatoes. What will you do with it? I'm giving you time to think of the answer. So now, maybe you have an answer. Now listen to what she did with her 3 tomatoes. And I want you to compare your answer to what she did. And this was what I was sharing to this other organization as to how they can make things happen. The girl given 3 tomatoes, guess what she did? She ate one. She went to the market and sold one, and took the seed in the 3rd one and planted it. Oh my goodness. Did you hear that? She ate only one. She sold one in the market. The money she made from that one, she bought 3 more, and she repeated the process. Ate one more, sold one more, planted one. Eventually, she was able to give one to this person in the family, one. But I'm thinking at 11 or 12, look at the mindset. Look at the investment mindset she had. And I was sharing this exact story with this other organization, and they couldn't get it. All they wanted was that someone should just give them money. And I said, okay, let's assume that you give them money now. What are you going to do? Well, see, they said the kids are sleeping on the floor, so we just buy them beds so they're not sleeping on the floor. I said, that doesn't make sense. I said, I've just told you the story of a girl who had 3 tomatoes. She ate one, sold one, planted one. I don't know, you hearing this, what will you think should have been their reaction or their thinking to what they can do? I said, if I said to me, okay, if you're given $1,000, instead of using all of that to buy beds, you spend maybe half of it to buy beds, the other half you will invest it in something that can generate more. I said, because know it or not, the children are sleeping on the floor now, yes, okay, that's a reality. But if nothing is given to the next 6 months, they will still be sleeping on the floor. So nothing will have changed. But somebody gives you something now, why don't you think of it in which you can alleviate some of that suffering? Yes, but then use some of the others to multiply, to grow more. And they just could not get this principle of these 3 tomatoes. Guess what happened to that girl eventually? The one she was planting and planting and planting, in a matter of time, they had acres of land of tomatoes. They are now supplying tomatoes to many businesses. So not only did that girl create she printed their own money, basically printed their own money. She created their own economy. She, with her right thinking, changed not just her own world, but the world of her family and the world of many people. And today, I'm sharing that story with you. Seriously, there's a story in the Bible, the good book, the Bible, of some people called the Israelites who were at one time in bondage in Egypt. And because they've been in slavery in Egypt for a long time, they had a slavery mentality. And even when God made a way to bring them out of that bondage, to come out of Egypt, on the promised land, in the wilderness on their way, they still had the mentality of slavery. And guess what happened to them? Every one of them that had that mentality of slavery, they all died in that wilderness. In the 40 years journey they traveled. Only the children that they gave birth to on that journey, who are not in that mentality, they were the only one that survived and eventually got to the promised land. Can you see what I'm saying now? You have to have a total shift. You have to begin to see in a different way. It's another message, another video I'm going to be doing that you find on this network or channel. Okay, so it's talking about seeing. Seeing is a golden key to printing your own money. It's a great golden key. Everything cannot be said or explained in this one message. That's why you need to consider a coaching session with me in some way to help create your world. To be truly successful, my friend, and to see correctly, you must be stress free, and you need to be guided by someone. If you're going to learn to drive, you will need to find a driving instructor, somebody who knows the road, who knows the way, who's going to guide you, who you are going to listen to. If you want to have if you want to have a particular weight in your body, and you need fitness, and you want to get right for maybe to gain weight or lose weight, you may have to go to the gym. You may have to have a personal fitness coach who's going to help you. The personal fitness coach knows the way, knows what to do, knows how to get you from where you are to where you want to go. If your son wants to play soccer or football, you need to, even if you're a good coach yourself, you may still need to register your son in a football team where there will be a manager who's going to guide him and help him. Your son cannot do it on his own. Maybe your daughter wants to learn to play music, maybe a guitar or piano. You have to get a music teacher. That is it. So mentoring is important. You need a life coach to hold your hand to help you become successful. Men and women, anyone who's successful today, go and find out. They're not just successful by chance. Tiger Woods, the time when he was the world #1 in golf, okay, maybe not now, I don't know. But when he was #1 in golf, they said they had about a few coaches. He didn't just have one or two. So no one that was #1 in the world in that time. Prime ministers, presidents, kings, and queens, they surround themselves with advisors, knowledgeable people in different fields to guide them. You need to be guided to, my friend. There's a coaching relationship that will help you to see from another viewpoint. Let me give you an example, okay, of what progress you can make and how you can see correctly and see differently. Imagine a relationship with someone like me, a coach, who is totally curious about your dreams, your aspirations, and wants you to get there. Somebody who really wants to know, somebody who wants to know what makes you tick. Somebody who wants you to live in accordance with your passion. Somebody who will explain and work with you to use the tools you have for growth and learning that will lead you to the results you want. That's what a coach will do. Somebody who can help you to identify and to work with your values. Somebody who is sometimes even more certain and focused on achieving your own aspiration than you are yourself. Yeah, absolutely. Imagine what it would be like if someone knew your values and your purpose and they are holding you true to them. Someone who will hold the flag at the top of the hill for you. My friend, there's so much that can be said. But you need to come into a coaching relationship that's going to help you to truly develop this and help you print your own money. I'm going to ask you, visit our website, www.createyourworld.org.uk. That is create, CREATE, like you create something, yourworld.org.uk. Subscribe to this channel. Click the like button. Put a comment below. Seriously, to be truly, truly successful, you have to be guided. It's not going to happen for someone just to make it all on their own. Anyone who's successful in any way have to be guided. Can you do this any other way? Maybe you can go and pay a coach lots of maybe $5,000, okay, but that will cost you. You can go to a conference somewhere and learn so many things. Or you can go and search the internet and learn all the materials yourself, okay, and still remain stressed and nothing is happening. This fact, seriously, has no comparison. To be truly successful, you need to have somebody lead your life. You need to give control and responsibility to someone who's going to guide you along the way. My friend, I want to thank you for listening to this message. There's so much to say. Even if I speak for the next hour, it will not all be said. What you need to do is consider how you will come into this life where you can print your own money in a coaching relationship. This can happen for you, my friend. It can start right now. It can start today. Let's get something going on this. You can make it. You've been formed in that way. You are born to win. You are born to succeed. You are born with a purpose to impact your world. And that can start today. Doesn't have to depend on the economy of the world. No, you can create your own economy. Thank you for listening, my friend. I'll speak to you some other time. But please don't forget, subscribe to this channel. Click the like button. Send this message to your friend. Share it everywhere. Encourage them. And let's get talking. Let's get doing something together in a coaching relationship that will change your life forever. Thank you very much. God bless you.